Good afternoon, everyone. I will read out my name just in case there are some online visitors. My name is Councillor Macpherson. I'm Chair of the Civic Affairs Committee, taking place at 5:30, well, almost 5:30, 5:40 just about, on Wednesday the 18th of October 2023. If other members of the committee would like to introduce themselves, starting from Patrick, that would be fine.
Okay, here it is.
Patrick.
Yeah. Oh, there's two of me now. Sorry. Sorry about that. So, Patrick Shield, Albury Ward. Thank you.
Mike Davey, Petersfield Ward.
So just to be clear, I'm not a member of this committee. My name is Martin Smarr and I'm here because I'm leading on governance.
Karen Young, Queen Edith.
Ward.
Thank you very much, everyone. That was for the benefit of anybody who does happen to be online. Do we have any apologies? I have one from Councillor Healy, and that is all. Didn't know if anybody else was... No, okay. I didn't know if Tim wanted to come as well, that was all. But no, that's fine. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Declarations of interest, as always, ladies and gentlemen, you may declare them now or at any time during the process of the meeting. You can flag up an interest at any time. Are there any declarations of interest at this moment? Thank you so much. Minutes of the last meeting, everybody received those and happy? Are there any business coming from those or comments coming from those minutes?
Not for me.
Thank you very much, everybody. There are no public questions, there are no public present. So that takes us to item 5, to consider recommendation of governance reference group on 9th of October 2023. It says report to follow, but we have it in front of us. Does everybody have a copy of that report?
Yep.
Everybody happy? Yep, no problem whatsoever. Okay, so on this report, the recommendations are on page 1, item 2. I can read those, or we can take them that you have read and understood them, whichever is your pleasure.
We've read them.
Everybody happy with that? In that case then, as Councillor Smart is here, would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Chair. I'll just say with regard to recommendation bullet point 3 or number 3, that recommendation is now withdrawn, as there was some debate about the logistics of enacting that particular part of the recommendation. So it's decided the best thing to do is to withdraw that in its entirety, and we can bring that back as a debate to a future meeting of the Governance Review Group, and then come back to this committee at some stage in the future with a new recommendation on that particular matter. So that was always the plan, that with these so-called quick wins, that we would continue to work on those as we work through our governance meetings as a cross-party group. And so that's a good plan, really. I think I recommend that to this group.
Thanks for that, Martin. Could you, just for the clarity of anybody who is online and everybody here, we're talking about page 3, aren't we? And just which one of those bullet points you wanted to refer to?
So the bullet point I'm referring to goes to change the deadline for oral questions from midday before the day of council meeting, etc. Chair.
Okay, my apologies. I thought we were on page 3, but okay, so you've gone from... Yeah, that's fine. Okay, any questions? Yeah, please, Naomi.
I had a point about the public questions recommendation, which is the second paragraph on page 2. I recognise what we agreed, but I just have a couple of little quibbles. One of the things that we discussed is that a lot of people following a meeting online are following it on a tiny tablet or a small phone. They may not have a copy of the written papers with them and may not be able to go easily from the following the meeting to the written reports. And we know that public questions are one of the most watched bits. So the suggestion was that as well as having the public questions in the written pack, we would also be showing them on the overhead projector, on screen, to compensate for them not being read out.
I think that sort of did come up very quickly at the meeting, didn't it? And Gary's just affirmed that actually that is possible. So, yeah, don't see any issue there. All right with that, Martin? Everybody happy with that? I think that's a fair compromise, and they can be displayed up there, and it's quite good for everyone to see the manual. And we used to do it with motion amendments and so forth, didn't we? A long time ago, yeah. But I've been around a long time.
I think the only debate, in the group was whether it was technically possible or not. Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, we can slide that in as an amendment to that on page 2. That's absolutely fine. See no problem with that.
Yes, put that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, we'll change. So that wording will appear in here. Yeah.
So I'll be doing it tomorrow morning.
So it's not this. Sorry, I see what you mean. It's not going to be. This version is not going to go to council tomorrow. So anything is decided today or changed or we agree amendment, Gary will kindly update that, and that's why it's a bit tight for the officers as well. But anything that's changed or agreed here that's different on this paper, then Gary will update, and that's what the council will see.
Yeah, so I was suggesting wording.
I think the only other quibble I had on public questions was that whether we could encourage questioners to point out that they have the option of saying whether they're representing themselves as an individual or as a group, and say how many members there are in the group. And the reason for proposing that was it discourages groups from encouraging all their members to submit the same public question, which can be incredibly frustrating.
Okay. Yeah, I sort of did attempted to do something similar when I was mayor the last time, and I think that's an excellent suggestion. And I did try quite hard to lump those questions together. I know some public questions were not always ecstatic about that, but it seemed to be a very prudent thing to do. But I hadn't thought of actually getting the questioner to explain how many members are. I think that's a great idea. Is everybody in favour of that, Martin?
I haven't got any objection. It's just, do you want it to be in the rules, or do you want the mayor to tell them that, or?
Sorry, I should have had that on. Yeah, that will be put in the guidance to the public if everybody agrees.
I'm very happy with that.
I mean, you're looking at me, Chair. I'm not a member of the committee, as I said, but I think Naomi's suggestion is Councillor Bennett's suggestion is very good. I just be careful that the speaker isn't going to take too long on that process, but it shouldn't ought to be the case. It should be a very brief statement, I would have thought. And I presume it wouldn't be part of their 2 minutes or any time they'd have, so that would be extra to that. Yeah. But it's just that I could imagine some speakers might want to take a long time explaining the basis of their question, where it's all from and who's involved and all of that, and we wouldn't really want that to be the
So
case.
make it part of the 2 minutes. I mean,
So what's happened in the past is the chair of the meeting has given some latitude depending on how it's coming across, and we've had conversations with group leaders over the past about how I've got to be careful with the timings, so that the maximum time is given to the point of the issue that the members want to hear. So I think there's a sort of good working relationship between whoever's sitting with the chair and the chair's experience, making sure that the members hear the substance of what the public have come to say, rather than any preamble.
Patrick, please.
Just very quickly, could the guidance be that it's basically if you are part of a body or speaking on behalf of a body, and that's the main thing, and preambles would come to it only if it was more of an assemblage of different interest groups, maybe without a name, then you'd need the preamble. But otherwise, it seems to me that this is a good opportunity for people just to flag up, I'm part of the such and such, and I'm thinking lots of things that might have 3 letters or be quick to say, just to address Martin's point about it eating into the time, which is a valid course. But I think the main thing is, if I've understood correctly, is to give people a chance to say, I'm part of the such and such, in the interest of democracy, basically, so that you don't get the question sessions packed with one particular interest.
Yeah, I can see that somebody might make a meal of that, and I get Karen's point. As ever, I was going to be generous with public speakers and say, actually, we'll give them the full 3 minutes, but I get your point. So we could make sure that the guidance was clear that that part was only for their name, the name of their organisation, and the numbers that organisation consists of. Those 3 things, that's it, move on. And if there's an attempt to actually stranglehold that, I probably won't be in the chair, but whoever's in the chair needs to stop that and say, no, actually, it's name, rank and number, and that's it. Which is basically what it is, isn't it? It's a name, their name of the organisation, number of people in it, move on. So I think Karen's got a point, though. Should we make that part of the 3 minutes? What do you think?
It's in the document.
Yeah.
Councillor answers up to 2 minutes. It's then
Oh, yeah,
when
of
the
course,
member of
it's
the
not
public
been
comes
read out,
in
is
with
it?
the interjection and has a follow-up to.
Course, yeah.
So my officers will work with public questioners, because the public question comes in 48 hours before the meeting. We help members of the public understand our rules and processes, so we have dialogue with them before they get to the meeting, because they come to us with questions. What's it like? Where do I turn up? Where do I sit? How long do I speak? And things like that. So we tend to help them before we get to the meeting once the things come in. So I think what you've suggested is enough, because it reminds actually people of what is in our existing procedures, which we haven't, over time, we've forgotten to emphasise them, educate people. So we just need to do a bit of that, and then also remind them of what you're suggesting here. And I think that will work. Don't over-engineer it.
Yeah, of course, what I'd forgotten at that point was they won't be reading the question out, so they won't need the 2 minutes.
But you might do that.
that went
It's
through and out the
supplementary.
other
You
end,
might
don't
just
it?
spend 10 seconds just saying, I'd just like to say.
Yeah, sure,
wouldn't you?
sure, yeah, okay, I'll get used to it. Amy,
Thank you,
please.
Chair. I was just going to say that if we have, like, say, 10 to 15 seconds where somebody says, I am Mr. Bloggs representing the Hightown Residents Association of 30 members, it actually gives us time to read the question that would be on the screen as well. So it works quite nicely for us to get oriented.
Karen?
I was going to move on, actually, from that, if that's okay. Just to say again that the Lib Dems would are not particularly in agreement with the pausing of the.
We haven't got there yet. Okay, so before we do move on, are we all happy with those few amendments? There's a couple of things came in those public questions, just to be clear, everybody knows what we're doing and that we're all happy with it, because we won't have another chance, it will go to council tomorrow. So just, so everybody's in agreement with those few amendments?
Yep.
Okay, in that case, it's all yours.
Just for information, would the plan be for that last topic that we were discussing still to allow as many questioners come forward, even if they are from the same organisation? That is So if lots of people wanted to speak for, it would just be that they'd be encouraged to say that they are from that organisation. Is that right?
Well, my take on that, Patrick, would be no. I would think you've got a representative of that organisation. They've tabled that question. They've said they're from that.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. They tabled that question from that organisation. That's that bit done. If there's another question which is not related to the first
Yes.
one from the same organisation, I guess we'd have to suck that when it came. But I wouldn't expect, because it would defeat the whole thing, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Otherwise, you'd have 20 people come at, no.
Yeah.
No,
So
I can't
discourages
see it
that.
like that unless anybody
Yeah.
else can.
No, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, please, your next point.
Just to say, and you're all very well aware of this, you know, we've had lots of discussions that the Lib Dems are not too keen on pausing the area committees. But, you know, you guys have assured us that something will come out, a revision will come out in 6 months. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. And that, just for members, I just want to say that is noted at 3.5 on these papers, so everybody knows. So it is on here. And I was going to ask, actually, if that was still the position, and you verified that it is. Is there any more debate on, yeah, Councillor Davis?
I just wondered if it might be helpful to have a date that the report comes back to, either the GRG, or indeed Civic Affairs, because that then ensures that some proposals come forward, because whilst I'm sceptical about the value of area committees, it's vital we have proper community consultation. So I just wonder if having a date in might concentrate the mind.
And I have to be fair here, that's exactly what Tim and Karen said at the meeting. Have we got a date? And that did come up, so I think that's fair. And we can.
It's approximately half a year,
Yeah.
but I need to talk to people who will still be here, what that half a year means.
You?
So I wonder if it could revolve around the dates of the Civic Affairs Committee next summer. Is that feasible, Martin?
I'd have to discuss with officers as well through you, Chair. But I think that was the sort of timescale that we were talking about at GRG, but it was to be finalised with officers really in terms of logistics of the organisation of it. That's all really.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah. Can I say one other thing, Chair, as well?
Please, yeah.
So just to be clear, I mean, area committees aren't stopping straight away on the pause. It's due to have one more round of area committee meetings, and then they would be pausing November, December this year. So in fact, you know, we'll start the process of reviewing already soon, but before we even pause them. So there's a bit of an overlap in terms of what we are planning to do as a council and what the Lib Dems are saying that, you know, they'd like us to do. So there's a bit of both really, to be honest, in my opinion anyway, because we'll be reviewing before we stop them, but we won't be finishing the review, you know. We want to get on with the job really and get it done, Chair, so that's it.
Okay, so I think that's reasonably clear. We all agree that we should have a date. I think we feel the same. Obviously, Mike feels the same, and we know Tim does because he said so. So we're agreeing that yes, we should have a date, a final later review, but that's yet to be decided.
Will it be in your recommendations
Yes.
as well?
So once that's finalised, but we agree there will be one. So we'll come back with that as soon as we've got it. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, I think the date's great, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other comments on this report? Going once? Going twice? Okay. In that case, then, with those amendments that we've spoken about and that Martin's comments when we started, the screen going up for the questions and how we're going to bunch those up. And we've considered that we will come up with a date, we need to come up with a date for something or the alternative to area committees. So I believe we're sort of there. Everybody, okay, all those in favour of this report with those amendments, please show.
Thank you very much, that's everyone.
And unless I'm very much mistaken, that actually concludes the business of this extra Civic Affairs meeting. Thank you very much, everyone, for turning up in the rain.
Thank you, Chair.
Took me longer to get here than it did to go through the meeting.